The massive alien ship hung in the sky above Seoul like a second moon. It had been there for 3 days now. Across the world, similar ships floated above major cities. After centuries of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. Sung-ho sat cross-legged on the floor of his small room at the Shaolin temple, watching the news on his tablet. At 28 years old, he had spent most of his life in training. Born in South Korea, his parents had sent him to China at age 7 when they saw his natural talent for movement and balance. Now, after more than 20 years of rigorous training, he was one of the youngest masters at the temple. "The aliens call themselves the Galactic Federation," said the news reporter. Her voice shook slightly. "They say they represent 53 different species from across our galaxy." Sung-ho sipped his tea quietly. While the world panicked around him, he remained calm. His master had taught him that change was the only constant in life, even if those changes came from beyond the stars. His tablet chimed with a message from his friend Dae-jung. "Are you watching this? They're about to show the aliens." The broadcast switched to a live feed from the United Nations in New York. Humans, in formal suits, stood nervously beside tall, powerful-looking creatures. These aliens had gray-blue skin that seemed to shimmer like metal under the lights. Each stood at least 7 feet tall with broad shoulders and powerful builds. Their faces looked almost human, but with wider eyes that glowed yellow. "These are the Kryvacs," the reporter explained. "They seem to be the military leaders of the Galactic Federation." The UN Secretary General stepped forward. "We welcome our visitors and look forward to sharing cultural and scientific knowledge with the galaxy." One of the Kryvacs moved to a microphone. His voice was deep and clear. "I am Ambassador Orvex. We have watched your planet for decades. Your species shows promise. We come to offer Earth membership in our federation." Cheers and applause filled the UN hall. After days of fear, this seemed like good news. The ambassador waited for silence before continuing. "However, each new member must demonstrate their value. What unique strengths can humans offer our alliance?" The Secretary General smiled confidently. "We have made great advances in medicine, art, science, and peaceful cooperation among our nations." Ambassador Orvex nodded. "These are good qualities. But the galaxy is not always peaceful. The Federation needs species who can defend themselves and others." On-screen Earth officials looked at each other nervously. One woman stepped forward. "Humans have developed many effective combat techniques and martial arts traditions over thousands of years." The ambassador's expression changed slightly. "Show us." The broadcast cut to a prepared video showing clips of various human martial arts. Olympic judo champions throwing opponents, boxing matches with fighters landing powerful punches, special forces soldiers demonstrating close combat techniques, kung fu masters breaking bricks with their hands. When the video ended, uncomfortable silence filled the room. Then several of the Kryvacs made a strange sound. Sung-ho realized they were laughing. Ambassador Orvex spoke again. "Your species has potential, but your combat techniques are primitive. Your strongest fighters would not survive 30 seconds against our weakest cadets." The Earth officials looked shocked and embarrassed. Sung-ho leaned closer to his screen, studying the aliens more carefully. Despite their mocking tone, he could see much from how they stood, how they moved. There was power there, yes, but also rigidity. On screen, a woman in a military uniform stepped forward. "We respect the combat abilities of the Kryvacs. Perhaps a friendly exhibition match would allow us to learn from each other." The ambassador smiled, showing teeth that looked sharp. "We accept. In 1 month, we will hold matches on our neutral space station. Bring your best fighters. This will be broadcast across the galaxy." As the broadcast ended, Sung-ho's tablet exploded with messages. Everyone was talking about the aliens and their challenge. Most people seemed afraid. How could humans compete with aliens who had technology to cross the stars? Sung-ho turned off his tablet and returned to his meditation. The moon shone through his window, but he could see the alien ship, glowing brighter in the distance. 2 weeks later, Sung-ho watched another news broadcast. This one showed footage that had been kept secret from the public. Earth officials had quietly arranged test matches between human fighters and junior Krivax warriors. The results were not good. Professional MMA champions, Olympic gold medalists, and elite Special Forces soldiers all went down quickly against the aliens. The Krivax were not just stronger and faster. They had natural armor-like skin that absorbed punches and kicks without damage. Their reflexes were faster than any humans. Even worse, they seemed to enjoy the fights, smiling as they tossed humans across rooms with ease. "This is bad," said Daejung, who sat beside Sung Ho in the temple garden. "The whole world is watching. If we look weak, who knows what might happen?" Sung Ho said nothing. He was watching the Krivax movements carefully. Yes, they were powerful, but they relied on that power without thinking. There was no efficiency in their technique, no real understanding of energy flow. "Earth needs a miracle," Daejung continued. "They've tried everyone. Olympic champions, military experts, street fighters. Nobody lasts more than a minute against these aliens." Sung Ho stood up and stretched. "They are looking in the wrong places. True strength is not about muscles or speed." "What do you mean?" "The oak tree stands strong against the wind and breaks. The bamboo bends and survives." Daejung sighed. "This is not the time for proverbs. Earth needs fighters, not philosophers." Sung Ho smiled slightly. "Sometimes they are the same thing." 3 days later, a black car with government plates stopped outside the temple gates. A woman in a neat suit stepped out and asked to speak with Master Sung Ho. She introduced herself as Ji Ho from Earth Alliance Intelligence. "We've seen videos of your demonstrations, Master Sung Ho. Your abilities are unusual." Sung Ho offered her tea but said nothing. "We've tried everything," Ji Ho continued. "Our strongest fighters look like children against the Krivax. But watching you move, it's different from other martial arts." "Shaolin Kung Fu is not about strength alone," Sung Ho replied. "It is about harmony, understanding force and how to redirect it." Ji Ho leaned forward. "Earth needs you. We need someone who can show these aliens that humans have value, that we deserve respect." Sung Ho poured more tea for his guest. "Fighting for pride or dominance goes against my training." "Then don't fight for pride," Ji Ho said. "Fight for understanding. If Earth appears weak, we may lose our chance to join the galactic community. Or worse, we might be seen as easy targets." Sung Ho looked out at the temple gardens where he had trained for most of his life. The morning sun cast long shadows across the stone path. "Show me these aliens again," he said finally. "I want to see how they move." As Ji Ho smiled and opened her tablet, neither of them noticed the alien ship passing silently overhead, watching them from above. The Earth Alliance headquarters buzzed with activity. In 2 weeks, humanity would face the Krivax in combat, and so far every practice match had ended in quick defeat. Inside the main conference room, voices grew louder as officials argued about what to do. "We need more time," said Taewon, the diplomatic team leader. He slammed his hand on the table. "Ask them to delay the matches. That would only make us look weaker," replied General Park. "The Krivax already think we're primitive. If we beg for more time, they'll respect us even less." Ji Ho stood quietly in the corner. She had returned from the Shaolin temple yesterday, and no one had yet asked for her report. Her tablet contained videos of Sung Ho that she believed could change everything. But first, someone needed to listen. Taiwan noticed her waiting. "Officer Ji Ho, you were supposed to find us a fighter. Please tell me you have good news." All eyes turned to her. Ji Ho stepped forward and placed her tablet on the table. "I may have found someone who can help us. A Shaolin monk named Sung Ho." The room fell silent before erupting in frustrated sighs and eye rolls. "A monk?" General Park laughed. "We sent you to find a champion, and you bring back a religious man who probably meditates all day? With respect, sir, you should see him first." Ji Ho tapped her tablet and a video began to play. The screen showed Sung Ho moving through a training exercise. His body flowed like water around wooden posts that spun with sharp points. He never touched them, yet passed through impossibly narrow gaps, Then the video showed him breaking river stones with his fingertips and jumping so high it seemed he might fly. Impressive gymnastics, Taewon said. But the Kryvax are twice his size and 3 times stronger. Jiho played another video. This is from yesterday. I asked him to demonstrate his understanding of force. The new video showed Sung-ho standing calmly as 6 large men attacked him from different directions. He moved only slightly each time, redirecting their energy so they missed or collided with each other. Not once did he strike back, yet all 6 attackers ended up on the ground. He calls it redirecting energy, Jiho explained. He says fighting the Kryvax with strength alone is like trying to stop a river with your hands. General Park leaned forward. Where is he now? Outside. He agreed to come with me, but he has conditions. Taewon frowned. What conditions? He will observe the Kryvax and decide if he can help. He won't promise to fight until he understands what we're facing. The team exchanged glances. They had no better options. Bring him in, Taewon ordered. The space station orbited Earth like a shining metal ring. Built by the Galactic Federation as a neutral meeting place, it now housed the upcoming combat exhibition. The Earth delegation arrived 3 days early to prepare. Sung-ho stood at a window in his small quarters watching Earth turn slowly below. He had never imagined he would leave the planet. The journey up had been strange. His body felt lighter. Here, though, the station created artificial gravity. A soft knock at his door broke his thoughts. Jiho entered, carrying a tablet. The Kryvax training session is about to start, she said. You can watch from the observation deck. They walked through curved hallways filled with beings from different worlds. Some looked almost human, while others had shapes Sung-ho could barely describe. All of them stared at the humans as they passed. The observation deck overlooked a large training room where several Kryvax warriors practiced combat moves. Even from a distance, their power was obvious. They moved with speed that seemed impossible for their size, throwing each other across the room with ease. Each Kryvax undergoes combat training from childhood, Jiho explained. Their planet has higher gravity than Earth, which makes them naturally stronger here. Sung-ho watched silently. He noticed how the aliens relied on direct force, punching, kicking, throwing. Their movements were impressive but predictable, like boulders rolling downhill. They have never needed to learn efficiency, he said finally. When you are that strong, you don't think about conserving energy. Jiho looked at him hopefully. Does that mean you'll help us? Before Sung-ho could answer, a voice came from behind them. So this is Earth's observer. They turned to see Ambassador Orvex with 2 Kryvax guards. The ambassador looked Sung-ho up and down, clearly unimpressed. I expected someone larger, Orvex said. Your leaders must be desperate to send someone so small. Sung-ho bowed slightly. Size is not everything, Ambassador. The ant can carry 50 times its weight. The hummingbird's wings move faster than the eagle's. Orvex laughed. Poetic, but irrelevant in combat. Your metaphors won't help when you face a real fighter. Perhaps not, Sung-ho replied calmly. But understanding might. The ambassador studied him curiously. You're different from the other humans we've met. They all tried to impress us with their strength. True strength comes in many forms. Ambassador Orvex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. We shall see. Tomorrow you will meet Dracus, our champion. He has never lost a match in the Galactic Combat League. After the ambassador left, Jiho turned to Sung-ho. Will you fight? Sung-ho continued watching the Kryvax train below. I need more time to observe, and I need to prepare myself. Prepare how? We have training equipment. I need silence, a place to meditate. Jiho looked confused. Meditate? Sung-ho, the match is tomorrow. Don't you need to practice fighting? I have been practicing for 20 years. One more day of punching will not change anything. He turned to her. What I need now is to understand the Kryvax better. Not just how they fight, but why they fight. That night, Sung-ho sat in deep meditation in his quarters. He had dimmed the lights and cleared away the furniture to create an open space on the floor. His breathing was slow and controlled. In his mind, He reviewed everything he had seen of the Krivax, their movements, their balance points, their center of gravity. He visualized their attacks and considered how water might flow around a stone. A knock interrupted his thoughts. Jiho entered with Taiwan. "I'm sorry to disturb you," Taiwan said, "but I needed to see you before tomorrow." He looked nervous. "The Earth Alliance leaders are concerned. They're questioning Jiho's decision to bring you here." Sung-ho opened his eyes. "You expected someone different?" "Frankly, yes." Taiwan walked around the room restlessly. "The future of Earth could depend on this match. If we make a poor showing, the Galactic Federation might decide we're not worth their time. Or worse," Jiho added quietly. "Some species might see us as easy targets." Sung-ho stood slowly. "I understand your concern, but I did not come here to win a contest or prove human strength. I came to show a different way." Taiwan frowned. "What does that mean?" "The Kravaks believe strength is about power and dominance. I hope to show them that true strength comes from balance and harmony." He looked directly at Taiwan. "Whether I win or lose tomorrow, this is what I will demonstrate." Taiwan looked unsatisfied but nodded. "Get some rest. The match is at noon." He left the room quickly. Jiho lingered at the door. "I believe in you, Sung-ho. I've seen what you can do." "Thank you for your faith," he replied. "But remember, even if I fail tomorrow, it may open a door to understanding between our worlds." After she left, Sung-ho returned to his meditation. As the artificial night cycle dimmed the station lights, he centered his mind and prepared for what might be the most important demonstration of his life. Outside his window, Earth continued its slow spin against the stars. Morning arrived on the space station with soft lights gradually brightening to simulate dawn. Sung-ho had been awake for hours, moving through his daily forms with careful precision. Each movement flowed into the next like water finding its path downhill. A chime sounded at his door. Jiho entered, carrying a tray with breakfast. "I thought you might be hungry," she said, setting the tray down. "The match is in 4 hours." Sung-ho thanked her and sat cross-legged on the floor. He ate slowly, savoring each bite of the simple meal. "Are you nervous?" Jiho asked, watching him. "No," he replied. "Nervousness comes from uncertainty. I am certain about what I must do today." Jiho sat across from him. "Which is what exactly?" "Listen, understand, adapt." He smiled slightly. "The same things I do every day." She frowned. "Sung-ho, this isn't a training exercise. Dracus has killed opponents in the ring before. The Krivaks don't hold back." "I know." He finished his tea. "That's why I need to see him again before the match." "See him? Why?" "I watched how the Krivaks train, but I need to see how Dracus moves specifically. Can you arrange that?" Jiho checked her tablet. "He's scheduled for a final training session in 30 minutes. I can get you access to the observation deck again." Sung-ho nodded. "Good. There is one more thing I need to understand before we meet in the ring." The observation deck was crowded with aliens from various worlds. Word had spread that the human challenger wanted to watch Dracus train, and many were curious to see this strange Earth creature before the match. Sung-ho stood quietly at the front, ignoring the stares and whispers around him. Below in the training area, Dracus had just entered with his team. The Krivaks champion was enormous even by his species standards. Standing nearly 8 feet tall with shoulders wider than 2 humans side by side, his blue-gray skin rippled with muscle. Unlike the other Krivaks, who wore simple training clothes, Dracus was adorned with metal bands around his arms and neck, marking his status as champion. Jiho whispered to Sung-ho, "Those bands are made from the armor of opponents he's defeated. There are 27. Sung-ho nodded but said nothing. His eyes never left Dracus as the champion began his warm-up routine. The Krivaks moved with surprising speed for his size. His strikes echoed through the room as he hit padded targets held by his training partners. Each blow would have crushed stone. When 3 assistants attacked him at once, he threw them across the room without apparent effort. He's even stronger than the others. Ji-ho said, her voice tight with worry. Yes, Sung-ho agreed, but look at his breathing. His breathing? Watch his chest. After each burst of action, he needs more recovery time than the others. He relies on overwhelming power rather than efficiency. As they watched, Dracus paused his training and looked up directly at the observation deck. His yellow eyes seemed to find Sung-ho immediately. The champion made a gesture to one of his assistants, who approached the communication panel. A moment later, a voice came through. The speaker's in the observation deck. The great Dracus invites the human challenger to join him on the training floor. Murmurs spread through the crowd. This was unusual. Ji-ho grabbed Sung-ho's arm. This could be a trap. He might want to injure you before the official match. Or, he might want to understand me just as I want to understand him. Sung-ho gently removed her hand. Either way, I accept. Before Ji-ho could protest further, Sung-ho was walking toward the elevator that would take him down to the training floor. When Sung-ho stepped onto the training floor, he appeared even smaller next to Dracus. The Kryvax champion towered over him, looking down with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. So you are Earth's champion, Dracus said, his deep voice filling the room. I expected someone larger. Size is not everything, Sung-ho replied calmly. Dracus laughed. So I've heard. Your kind always say such things. Yet in the end, strength decides who stands and who falls. The training room had gone silent. Everyone watched the strange meeting between the giant warrior and the quiet human. Why did you ask me here? Sung-ho asked. Dracus circled him slowly. Curiosity. In 300 cycles, I have faced champions from 42 worlds. None were as small as you. None watched me train before our match. In my tradition, understanding your opponent is the first step to victory. Understanding? Dracus stopped circling. What is there to understand? I am stronger. I am faster. I have never been defeated. Sung-ho met his gaze steadily. There is always more to understand. May I ask you a question? The champion seemed surprised but nodded. Why do you fight? Dracus blinked, clearly not expecting this. To win. To prove I am the strongest. And when you have proven this, what then? Then I remain champion until someone defeats me. Dracus frowned. Why do you ask such strange questions? Why do you fight? I don't fight, Sung-ho said simply. I harmonize. The Kryvax around the room exchanged confused glances. One of Dracus's assistants laughed openly. Harmonize? Dracus repeated the word as if it tasted strange. You speak in riddles, human. Perhaps after our match you will understand. The champion studied Sung-ho for a long moment. You are either very brave or very foolish. I cannot decide which. Sometimes they are the same thing, Sung-ho replied with a small smile. Dracus made a sound that might have been a laugh. We shall see in the arena, small human. He turned away, signaling the end of their conversation. As Sung-ho walked back to the elevator, he heard Dracus call after him. Human, what is your name? Sung-ho. Sung-ho, Dracus repeated, committing it to memory. Fight well today. Die with honor. Back in his quarters, Sung-ho prepared for the match. He changed into loose-fitting black pants and a simple white shirt. Around his waist he tied the red sash that his master had given him when he completed his training. Ji-ho paced nervously around the room. What was that about down there? Why did he want to see you? He wanted to intimidate me, Sung-ho replied. But he revealed more than he intended. What do you mean? Dracus fights for pride and status. Such motivation creates blind spots. Sung-ho stretched his arms slowly. He expects me to fight like him, to match strength with strength. That is a battle I cannot win. So what will you do? I will show him another way. Sung-ho closed his eyes briefly, centering himself. When water meets rock, it does not try to break through. It flows around. Given enough time, even water can reshape mountains. A chime sounded. the 15-minute warning before the match. Tae-Wan entered the room without knocking. He looked stressed. The arena is packed. Representatives from 30 worlds are watching. The Earth Alliance president is viewing from Earth. He stared at Sung-Ho. Please tell me you have a plan. Yes, Sung-Ho said simply. And, what is it? To listen, to understand, to adapt. Tae-Wan looked to Ji-Ho in frustration. Is that all he says? She smiled slightly. Trust him. I've seen what he can do. The final chime sounded. It was time. As Sung-Ho walked toward the door, Ji-Ho stopped him. Sung-Ho, whatever happens out there, thank you for trying. He nodded once, then walked calmly toward the arena where Drakus waited. With each step, his breathing grew more controlled, his mind more focused. By the time he reached the entrance tunnel, the noise of the crowd had faded from his awareness. There was only the path before him, the opponent ahead, and the flow of energy that connected all things. The arena was a perfect circle, 100 feet across. Its floor was made of a material that looked like sand but felt firm underfoot. The walls rose 30 feet high, topped by viewing areas filled with spectators from dozens of worlds. Sung-Ho entered from the east side. The arena lights felt warm on his skin as he walked calmly to the center. He wore no protective gear, only his simple black pants and white shirt with the red sash. His feet were bare. From the west entrance came Drakus. The Kryvax champion wore minimal armor, just enough to cover vital areas while leaving his powerful limbs free to move. Metal bands gleamed on his arms and neck. The crowd roared as he raised his fists. In the diplomatic viewing box, Ji-Ho sat nervously beside Tae-Wan. Around them, representatives from Earth watched with tense expressions. Across the arena, Ambassador, Orvex, and other Kryvax officials looked confident, some already laughing among themselves. He looked so small down there, Tae-Wan muttered. What were we thinking? Ji-Ho said nothing. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap. A voice boomed through the arena, speaking in a language that was automatically translated for all listeners. Welcome to this historic exhibition match between the Galactic Combat League champion Drakus of the Kryvax and Earth's representative Sung-Ho of the Shaolin Temple. The announcer explained the simple rules. The match would continue until one fighter surrendered, was unable to continue, or 15 Earth minutes had passed. In the center of the arena, Sung-Ho and Drakus faced each other. The size difference was striking. The Kryvax stood nearly 3 feet taller than the human and was at least 4 times heavier. Do you wish to surrender now? Drakus asked, his voice low enough that only Sung-Ho could hear. There is no shame in recognizing superior strength. Thank you for your concern, Sung-Ho replied calmly. But I would like to proceed. Drakus nodded, almost respectfully. As you wish. They moved to their starting positions, 10 feet apart. Sung-Ho stood relaxed, hands at his sides. Drakus took a fighting stance, powerful arms raised. A tone sounded, signaling the start of the match. Drakus wasted no time. He charged forward with surprising speed, aiming a powerful blow at Sung-Ho's chest. The crowd gasped, expecting to see the human crushed. But Sung-Ho wasn't there. With a subtle shift of his weight, he had moved just enough that Drakus's fist passed through empty air. The Kryvax's momentum carried him forward, off balance. Before he could recover, Sung-Ho had stepped to the side, his movement as natural as a leaf floating on water. Drakus spun quickly, surprise visible on his face. He attacked again with a series of powerful strikes. Each time Sung-Ho moved just enough to avoid the blow, never blocking, never striking back. In the diplomatic box, Ji-Ho leaned forward. Do you see it? He's not fighting. He's reading Drakus's movements and flowing around them. Tae-Wan frowned. But he's not attacking. How can he win without striking back? Watch, she said. Below, the pattern continued. Drakus attacked with increasing fury, each missed blow making him strike harder, move faster. Sung-Ho remained calm, his breathing steady as he flowed around the Kryvax like water around stone. 3 minutes into the match, Drakus was breathing heavily. Sweat made his gray-blue skin shine under the arena lights. He had yet to land a single blow on the human. "Fight me," he growled in frustration. "I am," Sung-Ho replied quietly. Dracus roared and launched a powerful kick that would have broken stone. Sung-Ho not only avoided it, but with the lightest touch to the Kryvax's leg, redirected the force. For the first time, Dracus stumbled and nearly fell. The crowd, which had been cheering for Dracus, grew quieter. Something unexpected was happening. Ambassador Orvex leaned forward in his seat, his expression troubled. Dracus recovered and circled, Sung-Ho warily. He was learning, adapting his approach. His next attacks were more controlled, more precise. But still, the human moved like smoke, impossible to grasp. 5 minutes into the match, Dracus changed tactics. He feinted left, then delivered a lightning-fast right hook. For the first time, he made contact. His fist struck Sung-Ho's shoulder with enough force to shatter bone. A collective gasp rose from the Earth representatives, but Sung-Ho did not fall. He had turned with the impact, absorbing and dispersing the force. It was a technique known as iron body in Shaolin training, controlling muscles and breathing to withstand powerful blows. Dracus stared in disbelief. The human should have been broken by that strike. In that moment of surprise, Sung-Ho moved, not to attack but to demonstrate. With flowing movements, he circled inside Dracus's guard and placed his palm lightly on the Kryvax's chest. "Your center is here," he said softly. "When it is unbalanced, your strength means nothing." Then he was gone again, flowing away before Dracus could grab him. The Kryvax champion was visibly frustrated now. He had never faced an opponent who refused to fight on his terms. His attacks grew wilder, his breathing more labored. Each missed strike cost him energy that he could not afford to waste. 8 minutes into the match, Dracus was showing signs of fatigue. His movements were slower, his recovery time between attacks longer. Still, his raw power remained dangerous. In a desperate move, he lunged forward, trying to grapple the smaller human. This time, instead of moving away, Sung-Ho stepped toward him. As Dracus's arms closed around empty air, Sung-Ho placed his hands on the Kryvax's elbow and shoulder, using the alien's own momentum to redirect him. To the amazement of the crowd, the massive Kryvax champion flipped through the air and landed hard on his back. The arena fell completely silent. Dracus lay there for a moment, the wind knocked out of him. When he rose, his yellow eyes blazed with a mixture of anger and confusion. "What is this technique?" he demanded. "Harmony," Sung-Ho replied, understanding the flow of energy and working with it, not against it. Dracus attacked again, but with less conviction. His movements were becoming predictable as fatigue set in. Sung-Ho continued to flow around the attacks, occasionally using the lightest touch to redirect the Kryvax's force against him. 12 minutes into the match, Dracus was visibly exhausted. His attacks had become slower, his breathing labored. Sweat poured from his body. In contrast, Sung-Ho looked as fresh as when the match began, his breathing calm and controlled. In a final, desperate attack, Dracus charged forward with all his remaining strength. Instead of avoiding him, Sung-Ho stood his ground. As the Kryvax's fist came toward him, Sung-Ho caught the much larger wrist with both hands. Using a circular motion, he redirected the enormous force, turning Dracus's own power against him. The champion spun through the air and crashed to the ground. This time, he did not immediately rise. The arena was silent as Dracus slowly pushed himself to his hands and knees. He looked up at Sung-Ho, who stood calmly waiting. "How?" the Kryvax asked, his voice rough with exhaustion. "How can you still stand when I cannot?" "Because I do not fight against the river," Sung-Ho said. "I become the river." The final tone sounded. 15 minutes had passed. The match was over. For several seconds, no one moved or spoke. Then slowly, Dracus rose to his feet. He looked at Sung-Ho with new eyes, not with anger, but with curiosity. The announcer's voice broke the silence. "The exhibition match is complete. The human representative has survived the full duration against champion Dracus." Whispers spread through the crowd. Many spectators looked confused. unsure of what they had just witnessed. This was unlike any combat they had seen before. In the diplomatic box, the Earth representatives were on their feet, cheering. Jiho wiped tears from her eyes. Even Taiwan looked stunned. "He did it," Jiho whispered. "He actually did it." Down, in the arena, Dracus extended his hand toward Sung-Ho, a gesture of respect. After a moment's hesitation, Sung-Ho took it. The Kryvax's massive hand engulfed the humans, but this time there was no attempt to crush or dominate. "I have much to learn," Dracus said, loud enough for those nearby to hear. "Will you teach me?" Sung-Ho nodded. "If you wish to learn, I will teach." From the Kryvax diplomatic box, Ambassador Orvex watched with wide eyes. What had begun as a simple demonstration of his species' superiority had become something entirely unexpected, something that might change everything. 3 weeks had passed since the exhibition match. The space station, once filled with tension, now buzzed with a different energy. News of the match had spread throughout the Galactic Federation. The recording had been viewed billions of times, across thousands of worlds. Sung-Ho stood in the center of a large training room that the station administrators had provided. Around him, 20 students formed a circle. Most were Kryvax, but there were also beings from 5 other species, including 3 humans who had arrived on the second diplomatic shuttle. "Balance begins within," Sung-Ho said, his voice calm and clear. "Before you can redirect the energy of others, you must understand your own." At the front of the group, Dracus followed Sung-Ho's movements with careful attention. The Kryvax champion had become the most dedicated student, arriving early each day and leaving late. He had removed the metal bands from his arms, saying they disrupted his balance. "Master Sung-Ho," Dracus asked, "how long did it take you to learn these techniques?" "I began training when I was 7 years old," Sung-Ho replied. "But I am still learning. The path has no end." The students exchanged glances. The idea of continuous learning was new to many of them, especially the Kryvax, who believed mastery was something you achieved and then defended. As the class continued, Jiho watched from the observation area. Beside her stood Ambassador Orvex and Taiwan. The 3 had become unlikely allies in recent days, working together to expand the cultural exchange program. "I never expected this outcome," Orvex admitted. "We came seeking warriors but found something more valuable." Taiwan nodded. "Sung-Ho represents only one of Earth's many traditions. Each has wisdom to offer." "The Federation Council is impressed," Orvex said. "They have fast-tracked Earth's membership application. The formal invitation will be issued next week." Jiho smiled. "And the cultural exchange program?" "Approved with full funding. We will send teachers to Earth and welcome your masters here." Orvex watched the training session with thoughtful eyes. "For too long, the Kryvax have equated strength with dominance. Perhaps there are better ways." Below, the class had paired off for practice. Sung-Ho moved among them, making small corrections to their form. When he reached Dracus, he paused. "You are still using too much force," he said. "Remember, the goal is not to overcome your partner, but to work with their energy." Dracus nodded. "It is difficult to unlearn old habits." "Yes," Sung-Ho agreed, "but you are making progress." The Kryvax champion smiled, something he rarely did before meeting Sung-Ho. "My people have always believed that to be strong means to stand firm, like mountain stone. You have shown us that sometimes the strongest path is to flow like water." Later, that day, Sung-Ho sat with Jiho in the station's garden area. The space had been designed to resemble an earth park, with trees and flowers from various regions. They had found a quiet spot near a small stream. "The Earth Alliance leaders are thrilled," Jiho said. "You've done more for human-alien relations in 3 weeks than diplomats accomplished in months." Sung-Ho watched the water flow over stones in the stream. "I only shared what I know. The rest happened naturally." "There's nothing natural about what you did," Jiho laughed. "You faced the galaxy's greatest fighter and showed him a better way. Now the Kryvax want to learn from us instead of conquering us." "They never intended to conquer Earth," Sung-Ho said. "They simply needed to understand that strength takes many forms." Jiho was quiet for a moment. Will you stay here? The new academy needs a head teacher, and the Federation Council has requested that you lead it. For a time, Sung-ho nodded. There is much to share, and much to learn from other worlds. But eventually, I will return to Earth. My temple is still my home. Speaking of home, Jiho checked her tablet. The next Earth shuttle arrives tomorrow. It's bringing 4 more teachers, a Tai Chi master, an Aikido sensei, a capoeira expert, and a judo champion. The Federation wants to learn all Earth's martial arts now. Sung-ho smiled. Good. Each tradition has its own wisdom. As they talked, Taewon approached with an alien Jiho hadn't seen before. The being was tall and slender with iridescent skin that changed colors like an Earth chameleon. Sung-ho, Jiho, Taewon said. This is Council Member Thalos from the Federation leadership. They requested a private meeting. Sung-ho stood and bowed respectfully. The alien returned the gesture with surprising grace. Master Sung-ho, Thalos spoke in a musical voice. Your demonstration has caused quite a stir in the Federation. Many worlds are rethinking their approach to strength and conflict. I am honored. If my small contribution has been helpful, Sung-ho replied. The council member's skin shifted to a deep blue. It is more than helpful. For centuries, the Federation has valued technological and physical power above all else. Your demonstration of harmony and redirection has opened many eyes. They turned to Jiho, and your insight in finding him has not gone unnoticed. The council wishes to offer you a position as cultural liaison for Earth. Jiho looked stunned. Thank you. I would be honored. Excellent. Thalos turned back to Sung-ho. There is one more matter. The Galactic Combat League wishes to create a new division focused on your harmonizing techniques. Would you help design the rules and serve as an advisor? Sung-ho considered this. I would be happy to help, but with one condition. It should not be called combat. Perhaps harmonizing arts would be more appropriate. Thalos's skin rippled with colors that suggested amusement. Always teaching, even to the council. Yes, that is acceptable. After the council member left, Taewon shook his head in wonder. From skepticism to respect in 3 weeks. You've changed everything, Sung-ho. Not I, Sung-ho replied. The truth was always there. I simply provided a demonstration that allowed others to see it. 1 month later, the new Interspecies Harmonizing Academy held its first formal demonstration. The main training hall was filled with spectators from dozens of worlds. At the center stood Sung-ho and Drakus, moving through a synchronized form that blended Shaolin techniques with Krivak's strength traditions. Their movements were perfectly balanced, the small human and the massive alien flowing together like dance partners. Where one moved forward, the other yielded. Where one created space, the other filled it. Neither dominated, both harmonized. In the front row, Jiho sat beside Ambassador Orvex. Both watched with pride as their world's representatives demonstrated a new way forward. If someone had told me 2 months ago that our greatest champion would be learning from a human monk, I would have laughed, Orvex said quietly. And if someone had told me that humans would gain respect in the galaxy not through power but through wisdom, I might not have believed it either, Jiho replied. On the training floor, Sung-ho and Drakus completed their demonstration. The audience rose in applause, many beings using whatever appendages they possessed to show appreciation. As Sung-ho looked out at the diverse crowd, he thought about the long journey that had brought him here. From a small boy in Korea to a student in China, to a master in space teaching beings from across the galaxy. What are you thinking? Drakus asked as they bowed to the audience. That true strength is found in unexpected places, Sung-ho replied, and that the greatest victories come not from defeating others but from helping them find a better path. Drakus nodded. A lesson I am grateful to have learned. As new students filed onto the training floor for their first lesson, Sung-ho took his place at the front of the class. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors formed rows before him, each eager to learn. Balance begins within, he said, beginning, as he always did. Before you can harmonize with the universe, you must first find harmony in yourself. And as one, the students of many worlds began to move, following the path of the small human who had shown the galaxy a different kind of strength.